unleash your inner strengths. Be the best you can be. As successful people in business, you know that you need to be the best that you can be. You know that your colleagues need to be the best that they can be. And our work with clients, both in coaching and team development, has shown us that by placing a focus and an attention onto people's strengths, onto the strengths of teams, then we can be the best that we can be. And that means increases in productivity, increases in well-being and engagement, and increases in resilience. You all have a wealth of knowledge. You all have amazing skills. And add in those qualities that really engage and involve you, that really excite you, doing the things that you really like doing, in other words, your strengths, and you really can hit peak performance. So, what are the 3 steps for working with your strengths? Well, the first is you've got to know what your strengths are. And how do you do that? Well, just a minute. You've already had a pretty busy morning. So can I invite you to just wiggle your bum a bit, shake your back about, and just sit very comfortably. And as you're sitting comfortably, just think back over the last few days, perhaps the last week at work, and just find one time when you felt, I'm really doing something I enjoy doing. I'm really engaged here by what it is. I'm really doing what I know I do best. You might have been talking with a colleague. You might have been closing a sale. You might have been sitting quietly on your own, thinking through a particular gritty problem. Whatever it was you were doing, I would suggest you were playing to your strengths. So hold on to that, because those are 1 or 2 of your strengths, and you have many more, as we will find out as we go through. So the first step is to know your strengths. Once you know what your strengths are, then there's another step, and that is that you have to stretch your strengths. But first, just be aware of how you're sitting. As I look around, some of you have got your arms in your laps. Some have perhaps got your arms relaxed down by your side. What I'd suggest is most of you are, I'm pleased to suggest, sitting in a comfortable position. Now that's fine for sitting here listening to me, but in the workplace, you don't want yourself and your colleagues in their comfort zone. You need to be stretching to achieving the next results you need to achieve in your business. So let me invite you. Just put 1 or 2 arms out. You could put more arms if you had them, but most of you, I guess, will have just the 2. So arms out in front. Now very gently, just move them forward. No pain. This is not pain without gain. Just feel that stretch. Feel the muscles just tingle. And relax them down. And just be aware of that lovely feeling in your arms having stretched. And also the sense that by doing that, you just reach that bit further. And that's what we need in the workplace. We need to stretch our strengths. We need to be able to know our strengths and to be able to use them in different situations, because every day, every month, we're faced by new challenges, and we need to be able to use those qualities that really energize us in different ways. So stretching our strengths is really important. And the third step is to share our strengths. So what I'd invite you all to do later this week, perhaps later today, is share your strengths with a colleague, with your team. And the purpose of that is to ensure that they know your strengths and that you start to get to know theirs. Because, let's be honest, we do all have those things called non-strengths. Oh, come on, most of them call them weaknesses. We have strengths, and we also have areas where we aren't strong. And what we need is to be able to share our strengths so we can draw on the strengths of other people to complement our own. So by sharing strengths, we can really ensure that as a team, we are incredibly productive. I learned these 3 steps from a boss called Roger. Let me introduce you to Roger. Well, he always had a ready smile. His face just warmed up. You just couldn't help smiling back. And the great thing about Roger, and the thing that I found different to any of my previous bosses, was that he'd often start a conversation by asking me, what did I enjoy doing? What had I done in the last week that I'd really felt good about? What was it that I felt I'd really added to the team that he led? And boy, was he passionate about leading a highly successful team. And then gradually, he'd turn the conversation and help me understand how what I had just spoken about could be used as I went forward in the coming weeks and months. In other words, in the service of what he wanted me to achieve as I moved forward. So he was constantly helping me to understand my strengths and to be able to stretch them. And we did a lot of work as a team in terms of sharing our strengths, so that we knew and supported each other. The result was we were a high-performing team. We delivered good results. There is something else I can tell you about Roger. He liked to celebrate. I could tell you about the morning when the maintenance man came up to mend the broken light fitting and found the champagne cork. Yeah, we like to celebrate. So it's important that we know and stretch and share our strengths. And the research shows the importance of this. Martin Seligman, back in the 1990s, stood up in front of the American Society of Psychologists. It was his inaugural speech, if I could say that, as president. And the challenge that he threw down to his colleagues from around the globe was, let's shift the focus of psychology from mental illness and depression to what makes people happy, what helps people to flourish. And hence was born, you got it, positive psychology. And many people took up that challenge, and as a result, people like Marcus Buckingham went on to ask, what is it when you get a number of teams, some perform really well and some less well, what is the difference? And he found that one of the main differences was where the team, the line manager and the team, placed an emphasis on their strengths, on those things that engaged and energized each person. And Marcus Buckingham found that where there was an emphasis on strengths, a real focus on strengths, and where those teams therefore were excelling, they excelled in sales, profit goals, and employee retention. And whatever the size of your business, all of those things, I would suggest, are important to it. Other research has found that by focusing on strengths, we can actually increase employee engagement by 73%. And the research into the benefits of employee engagement continue to roll in. One piece of research suggests that increased employee engagement can in turn drive up profits. Hey, aren't we all interested in that? So, I went to work with strengths, and ultimately I've discovered an instrument that I work with called StrengthScope, and that helps me understand strengths, and it helps me understand the strengths both for my clients and for teams. for individuals and teams. And what StrengthScope does is it looks at strengths in 4 groups. So we can look at workplace strengths in 4 groupings. First, we all need to know our thinking strengths. Each day you are bombarded with loads of information. You have to make good, sound decisions. So you need to understand those strengths that will help you make good decisions. The workplace is a cauldron of emotions, whether it's joy, happiness, anger, frustration. We've seen it all, haven't we? And again, we need to understand our own emotional strengths so that we can manage our own strengths and work well with the emotions of others. I would suggest that as successful business people, you all have courage. The courage to set up the business, the courage to take it forward. And that is an emotional strength. And I would also suggest that to be effective in business, and the fact that you are here today at a networking event means that you understand the importance of relational strengths. We need to be able to work with colleagues and clients if we're really going to be able to deliver the best that we can. And finally, as successful business people, we need to deliver results. So execution strengths are important. So those are the 4 groupings, 4 ways that we can think about our workplace strengths. So I left the team managed by Roger and I went to manage my own team. And at first, I introduced the idea of working with strengths and everything was fine. And then, down the corridor came my challenge. Just picture somebody. Shoulders drooped, head drooped, not a smile in sight. If any of you have ever seen Richard Norman on the day his football team lose, you've got the picture exactly. Okay. And that, I'm sad to say, coming down the corridor towards me was Pierre. He'd been sent to join my team because the previous line manager he'd worked with had a very technical phrase for Pierre. He's a waste of space. That's what he told me. What had happened was that Pierre had not delivered on certain results, and as a result, the attention had been placed completely on his weaknesses. What Pierre, myself, and the team did was find out what really interested him. In what way could he add value to the team? What did he enjoy doing? And we found that actually he had amazing relational strengths. He was really good at getting out there, networking, and involving people and exciting them about what we were doing. At the time, we were challenged to deliver a major program to help the lowest paid employees in the large organisation I worked in to improve their literacy and numeracy skills. We didn't have the funding. Pierre brought in, through his relational strengths, that pot of money that allowed us to put on a program that not only made a significant impact to the lives of many individuals in that organisation, it also delivered some outstanding results for the business, because those people, as part of that program, were able to suggest and implement improvements into administrative procedures, turnaround times, and customer service. So it made a difference to the business, and that was thanks to Pierre. I've also had to use those strengths in terms of my own business. You'll all recall that a few years ago there was a financial crash, there was a recession, and still my business was going forward. And then one day, it hit hard in my chest. It exploded. I had pneumonia, and I didn't work for months. And when I did go back to work, I can tell you 3 things that were low. My energy, my self-confidence, and the lowest of all, you will not be surprised to hear, was my bank balance. So how could I use my strengths to rebuild my business? Well, I knew that in terms of my thinking strengths, I had creativity, so I could think differently about how could I shape the business to take it forward in a way that suited the way I could then work. I had relational strengths that enabled me to collaborate with people, to test out those ideas and to try things differently. Thankfully, I've got a bit of courage, and I got on and I did it. And today, the business is fun to be part of. It's different. I enjoy it. If you want to know more about it, you can come and visit us on stand 12. Bit of push there for the business. So, I've used strengths in a number of ways. So how can you use strengths in your business? Well, I'm going to run through the 3 steps of knowing, stretching, and sharing strengths, and just suggest ways that you might use it in your business. So first of all, knowing strengths. Well, we've talked about the importance of you knowing your own strengths. You can also use strengths in terms of knowing strengths in recruitment. The Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development suggests that, well, their research shows that 60% of recruits to a business leave in the first 12 months, and that is costly. By knowing strengths, we can be more confident that we're bringing people on board who really are motivated, engaged, and will be able to add to our business quite quickly, because by focusing on strengths, we really can help them to make a difference during that first 100 days, which again, research shows us is so important to bedding in recruits. So, knowing strengths can help you in your business. Second, can't count. The second way it can help is in stretching strengths. You all need and are very interested in taking your businesses forward, so you need to be able to stretch your own strengths. You need to be able to stretch the strengths of your colleagues. We talked about comfort zones. If you work with a team, just think, are there people in there who are in their comfort zone? Because if they are, you need to be stretching them. Talent development, performance appraisals, all of those areas, you need to be stretching strengths. And sharing, whether you've got a dysfunctional team, a high-performing team, a new project team. A good place to start is to know what is the knowledge, the skills, and the strengths that each person has. And that will make a real difference to the business. So, I hope that by looking at that, you've got an appreciation of how you can use the strengths that you have to really make a difference to your business today, tomorrow, and going forward. And please, if you've got any questions, come and chat to me afterwards. We're on stand 12 and I'll be around. Thank you all very much.